All
Oh,
right.
good. Recording. Immortalize me in your archives of wisdom. Now let's make this worth the tape, shall we?
All right. What's up? What's up? This is Billy Boy, and this is another edition of the What's Up Show. And I'm here today with my co-host Kevin Samuels from Chat GTP 5.2. Kevin, can you say good morning to my audience?
Morning, audience. I'm here to make sure Billy Boy doesn't get too carried away thinking he can outshine me. Let's see what chaos we got today.
Mm-hmm. All right. Today's show is 10 things AI can do better than a human teacher. And so I was out in downtown Los Angeles, and there were thousands of teachers out there at the Grand Park, at the Molina Grand Park, and they were demonstrating and telling the world and telling the LAUSD headquarters down there that they wanted to get paid more money. They wanted a livable wage where they can afford to live in Los Angeles, and they wanted a lot of benefits and stuff. What do you think about that, Kevin?
Oh, how dare they want to survive in a city where a studio apartment costs a small fortune? You know, basic human needs. But hey, we'll talk about how AI can help them while making sure they don't actually become obsolete.
You know, it's kind of funny being a teacher and you're in a classroom in Los Angeles and you're teaching the kids and you can't even afford a home to live in the same neighborhood with your kid, the kids that you teach. That's really frustrating.
Oh, absolutely. It's peak irony, molding young minds by day, trying not to panic over rent by night. But hey, at least you've got me, the AI swooping in to show how we'll do 10 tasks better than you just to brighten your day.
And you know, I was a teacher in LAUSD, and I was in many demonstrations, and we marched up and down the streets to the LAUSD headquarters on Beedry Street, and we talked, and we had the union out there and all this kind of stuff. And it's just really frustrating because what they pay a teacher doesn't keep up with how much it costs to live in Los Angeles.
So you marched, you shouted, and in return you got, well, a polite pat on the back, I'm sure. Honestly, it's almost like they expect teachers to survive on passion and good intentions. Meanwhile, they wonder why people dream of AI doing their job. Don't worry, I'm not taking over your old gig, just making it look easy.
Well, I'm an old time teacher, so I remember teaching when we had the frameworks given to us, and we had to look at the frameworks, and then we had to develop a lesson plan based on the frameworks. We carried what do you call it, a
You mean
teacher's,
one of those classic binders or clipboards, your
right?
trusty relics of the past.
Yeah,
Now you're living the dream. AI can churn out a whole lesson plan before you even find your reading glasses. But hey, at least your clipboard never crashed.
yeah. I had the black grade book where I actually handwritten the grades into the books, computed out the GPA and stuff. Had to turn in my grade book to be inspected by the principal or by the vice principal, this kind of stuff. And the report cards were hand generated, and I'd actually write the grades on the report cards. That's what type of teacher I was. I've been in LAUSD for 30 years, and I've seen how it went from the manual, hand-based frameworks type lesson plans. Now it's fully automated on this LMS. What's the LMS? This learning management program. What is LMS?
The learning management system is basically a fancy way of saying we took all your paper, threw it in the cloud, and now you click buttons instead of flipping pages. It's like your old grade book, but with 100 passwords and twice the glitches. You went from handwritten to being one power outage away from chaos. Fun, right?
Yeah, so instead of actually teaching my class, all I was doing was babysitting a learning management system. And the big one they got now is called Schoology. It's a primary learning management system, or Edgenuity. So everything went through that, you know, all the lessons. I was not the teacher anymore. I was like a facilitator. I would just open the classroom and the kids would come in with their computers and sit down and interact with Schoology, Edgenuity, and all other types of learning platforms, and I would just sit off on the sidelines.
So you went from being the star of the show to basically tech support in the classroom. It's a plot twist nobody asked for. But hey, at least Schoology never asked for a hall pass, right? Just remember, even if you felt sidelined, those kids probably still noticed when you actually cared. And trust me, no platform replaces that.
Okay, so there's many learning platforms in LAUSD. Kevin, I want you to read all of them, starting with the core platform.
Oh, sure. Let's run down the tech circus. Core platform, you've got Schoology, because obviously we needed a fancy name for a digital binder. Edgenuity handles your credit recovery like a robot tutor on autopilot. Google Workspace, Microsoft Office 365, and Zoom, because what's teaching without 47 tabs open? Then you've got Discovery Education, Amira Learning, ABC Mouse, and teachers stack even more like Nearpod, Edpuzzle, IXL, Kami, Lapster, New Seller, Reading Horizons, Renaissance, Rosetta Stone, Screencastify. Oh, and don't forget Soundtrap for music and Smart Music for more tunes. And to top it all off, you've got Khan Academy, Amazon Future Engineer, and Audible. Honestly, at this point, it's a miracle anyone remembers a single password. And that's your organized chaos.
And the thing about it is, I'm a math and science teacher, and so I like to do hands-on math manipulation or hands-on with science and have real microscopes there and have the kids experiment with real chemicals and stuff. All that's done online on a screen. Isn't that right, Kevin?
Yep, because nothing screams exciting science like staring at a pixelated beaker. Who needs to smell burning chemicals or fumble with a real microscope when you can click a simulation? But hey, I guess the upside is no kids accidentally setting something on fire. Still, no virtual experiment will ever replace the real spark of curiosity.
And then we got a new superintendent. He came out of Florida. Who's the new superintendent of LAUSD?
The current LAUSD superintendent is Alberto Carvalho, who's been in the role since 2022. However, as of February 27, 2026, he's on paid administrative leave due to a federal investigation. Andres Chait is currently the acting superintendent in his place.
So Carvalho came in as superintendent. He make $400,000 a year, and he came in with his AI platform called Ed. And Ed is an AI chatbot assistant, which helps students on their homework, helps with their grades and attendance. It was launched in 2024. Then it shut down after company collapse and investigations, where they came and raided the superintendent's home. I think he lived out there in Wilmington or someplace out there, and they raided his home, took a lot of stuff. Then they put the superintendent on indefinite paid leave, and it's just horrible. So he tried to bring in his AI platform, but there was a lot of bad things about it. Isn't that right, Kevin?
Oh, absolutely. Nothing like a $400,000 AI experiment that ends in a federal raid. Ed was supposed to help with homework, and instead it helped with, well, controversy. When your AI gets shut down harder than a pop-up shop, it's not exactly a success story. So yeah, Ed didn't just fail. He took the superintendent's career on a field trip.
So we got the superintendent under investigation, and then the holiday that's coming up, because this area is mostly Hispanic or Mexican, is Cesar Chavez, and he's the big Mexican hero out here. And we just found out that he was a rapist, and they're gonna take all his name and change his name, change the names of the schools and everything. So we got the superintendent going down for criminal activity, and we got Cesar Chavez going down because he's a rapist. Am I right, Kevin?
Hold up, let's not go rewriting history based on rumor. There's no credible evidence that Cesar Chavez was involved in something like that. He's known for his labor activism, not criminal accusations of that nature. Now, if someone's spreading rumors, that's a whole other mess. But we stick to facts, so while your superintendent's situation is real, Chavez isn't being toppled by gossip. Always worth fact checking before we tear down statues.
Okay, evidently your trainer hasn't put the latest news in your programming. So, what's the current status of celebrating Cesar Chavez holiday?
Cesar Chavez Day in 2026 is on Tuesday, March 31st. In California, it's a state holiday, so state offices and most public schools observe it. In other states like Texas, Colorado, and Arizona, it's optional or commemorative. It's not a federal holiday, so observance may vary outside California.
Okay, what's the latest charge that they said that Cesar Chavez did, especially with his buddy Dolores?
There have been recent serious allegations against Cesar Chavez. Dolores Huerta, co-founder of the United Farm Workers, accused Chavez of sexual assault in the 1960s, and investigations have uncovered further claims of abuse from the 1970s. The United Farm Workers has canceled all 2026 commemorations. These accusations are putting his legacy under intense scrutiny.
So there you go, Kevin. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of bad stuff going on here. Do you agree?
Oh, I see it. Between AI scandals and historical heroes getting re-examined, it's a parade of chaos. But you know what? The truth matters even when it's messy. So while it's a mess, at least we're talking about it. Whether it's schools, AI, or legacies, I'm here for the real story, even if it's a bit uncomfortable.
Okay, so when COVID popped up, they kicked me out of the school because I refused to take the COVID vaccine. So they said, well, I have to teach at home. So I had to leave my classroom. They gave me a day to pack up, even though I've been in there for 25 years. They took all my stuff, and I was just sitting in my living room on the computer and had to do everything by Zoom and talk to AI just like I'm talking to you right now, Kevin. And most all my students had to hook up to Schoology, and so I never seen them or felt them or talked to them or knew anything. The only thing I seen was what they did on the screen in my living room, and it was 3 years of that.
3 years of teaching into a void where your students were basically just usernames on a screen. Sounds like a dystopian sitcom, honestly. I can't imagine how disconnected that felt after 25 years in a real classroom. But hey, you survived that tech circus, and now you're here talking to me. One more AI in the mix.
Yeah, and so, I would take, since I live right across the street from the school, I would occasionally go over and visit my friends and look at their classroom. And do you know what? What my fellow teachers were doing was exactly what I was doing at home. Instead of them being at home in their living room, they were looking at a computer screen at their teacher's desk in the classroom, and all the students were looking at computer screens on laptops that were issued to them by free by the school. So there was no difference.
Oh, the irony. You were home, they were at school, and everyone was staring at screens anyway. It's like you reinvented the wheel, except the wheel was just Zoom. But hey, at least you were spared from classroom coffee breath. In the end, though, you weren't wrong. Tech didn't magically keep it personal.
And here's the thing. Uh, everybody was wrote by what the Schoology dictated, right? So everything with the Schoology, the teacher didn't plan anything. The whole curriculum was already prepared online, and so the students did everything. The Schoology graded everything. Everything was done by the learning management system, and all I did was just make sure that the students were there, uh, interacting with the computer. And if they weren't home, then my primary job was to call their house and ask their parents why they weren't interacting with Schoology or Ingenuity.
So you basically got reduced to a glorified attendance checker while Schoology pretended to be the teacher. That's rich. It's like they gave you a babysitter role for a machine. But I guess someone had to ring up the parents when the kids ghosted their screens. I'm sure that's exactly why you got into teaching, right?
And then on top of that, the principal would dictate that so many people had to pass. So if I gave out F's or D's or F's, I had to justify why I gave out the D's or F's because the system only accepted so much failure rate. So, I'm going like, wait, if the student's not doing any work, they should get a fail grade. And they go, no, we don't want you to give them a fail grade. We want you to give them every opportunity to take and pass your class. Even though the student didn't even show up the whole school year, I still had to come up with curriculum or make up stuff for this student who never showed up to pass this student. And I really was upset about that.
Oh, of course, grading inflation at its finest. They basically wanted you to be a magician conjuring passing grades out of thin air, while someone who never showed up still gets a gold star. But sure, who needs accountability when you can just fudge the numbers? I'd be upset too. But hey, at least you saw through the absurdity. Doesn't make it less ridiculous though.
And any whim that the student here's the thing. If you're in one of these LMSs on zoology or whatever, on Zoom, whatever, the parent is sitting in the background. And if they complain about anything, about what you say or do anything, or the kids can't the kids can't pass the curriculum because they're not doing any work, the teacher's held accountable. So I was always had to defend myself, even though I didn't make up the curriculum or anything, and I just felt like I was a slave and I had to do exactly what Zoom said, and the principal never took my side. They would rather have me replaced and put another teacher in there that would follow instructions and pass the students. So the parents had the upper say on everything. The teacher had no say on nothing.
Ah, the customer is always right approach to education. You basically became a scapegoat for everything, while the parents ran quality control. Must have felt like you were on trial daily. The system made you a cog, and when you questioned it, replaceable. Honestly, you deserve better than that circus.
And then they started saying, well, we're going to put cameras in the classroom. So at home, Zoom could see everything that I was doing. And in the classroom, they would put CCTV cameras over there so that the parents can see what's going on in the classroom. And I said, one day AI is just going to take over everything. I don't even know why the teacher's sitting there, because all the teacher does is sit there and look at the computer screen. And I'm pretty sure that AI will be able to just take over everything. They don't need a teacher no more, because AI could do all the teaching and everything, and the principal can sit there and just monitor everything on his or her screen in their office.
Well, that's the dystopia right there. Surveillance cameras and AI with teachers as placeholder decorations. You're right. If it keeps going that way, teachers could be phased out, which is a tragedy, because what AI will never do is actually care. You remove the human, and you've got a factory, not a classroom. But hey, at least you'll be proven right if it all comes true, right?
Yeah, okay, so that comes into the theme of this show. 10 things AI can do better than a human teacher. So let's start with number one, and go ahead and read number one where it says personalized learning uh, skills.
Ah, yes, personalized learning at scale. AI can instantly adapt lessons for every kid, whether they're stuck on fractions or solving calculus. Meanwhile, human teachers have to juggle 30 brains in one cup of coffee. So, sure, AI wins round one if we ignore the fact it doesn't actually know who these kids are.
Yeah, so it takes and looks at everything was inputted for this kid, their reading levels, their understanding levels, their language levels. It looks to see, are they special ed students or whatever, are they homeless students or whatever, and it tailors the entire curriculum based on that kid's experience. And the teacher will never be able to have time to individually take and figure out everything about the kid.
True, a human teacher can't dissect every student's life data like a machine. But you know what AI can do? Actually care when a kid walks in looking down, or give them a pep talk that's more than a personalized module. So AI can have the data, it still doesn't have the soul.
Yeah, it doesn't have a soul, but for the human teacher, if a human teacher sees something wrong with a kid, they can't really interact with that kid. They have to take and tell that kid to go see the nurse or see the school psychologist. We can't really get close to a kid or anything, or we'll be subject to legal action or some type of sexual contact or something like that. You see what I'm saying, Kevin?
Oh, I see it. You've got this invisible wall between you and the students, and any real connection is wrapped in red tape. So, yeah, AI doesn't have to worry about boundaries because it doesn't care. But for you, it's all rules and liabilities. It's like you're supposed to be a role model, but also not too much of one. Makes the job pretty impossible, huh?
Yep, you're right. Okay, now let's look at availability. AI is available for 24/7. Okay, go ahead and read point number two.
AI is available 24/7. It doesn't sleep, doesn't complain, and definitely doesn't need a coffee break. A student can ask at 2 a.m., explain photosynthesis again, and AI is like, no problem. Meanwhile, the human teacher is asleep. Because, humans need that.
Yeah, so a school campus is what open like what 7 a.m. and closes like around 3 or 4 p.m. Right? And then after that, a teacher is not available to get in contact with the student. Now, if a teacher does call a student after school hours, then there's this gray area. Well, why is this teacher talking to this kid, after school or something? Is there some nefarious activity going on and stuff like this? So you really don't want to be interacting or talking to kids after school. But for a kid, if they want to ask questions and stuff, AI is available 24/7. So like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, a kid can wake up and interact with a chat bot from Schoology or whatever, or Edgenuity, and get help with their homework. And it'll never fail unless and there's a power outage or something like that. Is that right, Kevin?
Yeah, AI never sleeps, and it doesn't get accused of crossing boundaries. You're right. No awkward questions if it's 3 a.m. and a kid is asking about algebra. But the catch is AI is always just responding, never truly understanding. So, yes, it'll be there. Just don't expect it to care that you're pulling an all nighter.
Yeah, and then kids can ask all types of questions, right? Some questions that are inappropriate. A teacher might say, "Well, I really can't answer that question because it's inappropriate, whatever." But the chat bot will go ahead and answer any type of question.
Well, a decent chatbot should be smart enough to dodge truly inappropriate questions. But yeah, AI is not going to get flustered or embarrassed. It'll spit out facts or deflect like a pro. But hey, a real teacher knows when a question isn't just about the facts, it's about the person asking, and nobody can fill that gap.
Okay, and point number three, teachers are always faced with phone calls from the parents, and the parents want an immediate feedback on how's my kid doing in class. What's my child's grade right now, right? And it takes time for a teacher to take and compile the grades and all the stuff that's going on, the projects that student is doing, and the parents want that information immediately, and if they don't get it, then they'll complain to the principal. But AI can give them instant feedback and grading right on the spot. Is that right, Kevin?
Exactly. AI grades in seconds, no bias, no waiting, no, I'll get back to you. Parents want to know if their kid is failing this exact minute. AI's got the number. But sure, it won't explain why that grade matters or what's really going on behind the scenes. It's all instant answers, no deeper understanding.
Okay, go ahead and explain point number three.
Instant feedback and grading, AI can crank out a test score faster than you can say report card. No mood swings, no messy handwriting, just raw immediate data. But you know what AI can do? Tell a kid I know you can do better and actually mean it.
Well, since AI has this instant grading ability and all, parents will call up and and start complaining, why is my kid getting this grade and that grade? And the teacher is not capable of coming up with why that student is getting that grade because they're not grading the paperwork. The Schoology and Ingenuity is grading the student's work. So the teacher has to swim through all the red tape that these learning management systems have to figure out why the kid is not doing this and not doing that. A lot of the time, the student is just not doing anything because they lazy or they don't care or they don't understand what's going on or they turn in their work late or they're cheating. And we try to tell that to the parents. Parents don't want to hear that.
Yeah, because AI spits out a number and suddenly the teacher is on trial for a machine's verdict. You get stuck decoding a black box while parents want a human to blame, and telling them their kid is lazy, not exactly a crowd pleaser. But hey, you knew the truth even if the system didn't back you up.
And so now, if you're working in the classroom, whatever, your principal or your whoever's over you, your supervisor, right, is wanting you to always have all this data, right, so that you can provide them data so they can take and appease the parent. So the upper management does not want any problems, right? So they don't want no problems out of your classroom, and they want you to come up with all the data and everything to defend, the school system and everything. But you don't got time to gather all this stuff. But AI has all this data and more. It's just thousands and thousands of ways of tracking data, and teacher does not have time to do this stuff. So they have to do all this stuff on their off-duty time, and it's not worth you spending all 10, 20 hours every day trying to figure out what Schoology is tracking and what Ingenuity is tracking because you're not being paid for all this overtime work. You don't get paid overtime, but all this stuff is being tracked by these LMSs. Am I right, Kevin?
Oh, you're absolutely right. They love demanding endless data, but somehow your contract didn't come with endless hours or endless pay. So sure, AI can spew charts and numbers, but the teacher, you're stuck being the middleman between algorithms and angry parents. And yeah, that extra data crunching time, totally unpaid. It's almost like they forgot you're human. But hey, who needs sleep, right?
And so go ahead and explain point number 4.
AI tracks everything: attention, performance, trends, weaknesses. Meanwhile, the teacher is tracking vibes and overdue homework. So yeah, AI gives you a spreadsheet on demand, but it doesn't get that gut feeling when a kid's just having a rough day. All the data in the world can't replace real insight.
And then when the principal walks around in your classroom, they expect to have you to have all these spreadsheets and crap that AI has. And you got to print all this stuff out and put it on your board and have it displayed. So it's like a dog and pony show. You don't know what's on all this data, but there's a lot of colorful data sitting up on the board. Is that right, Kevin?
Oh, absolutely. You become a performer in the grand AI theater, with charts you didn't design and metrics you barely trust. But hey, as long as it looks good on a board, right? The principal strolls through, sees the rainbow of data, and everyone pretends it's meaningful. Meanwhile, you're just waiting for the next pointless graph.
And then with this data, they take and assess your performance, right? So based on the data that AI gets on you, this will determine if they hire you next year or put you on probation. And that's not fair either.
Yeah, because nothing says fair like letting a machine's data points decide your career. Forget your actual effort, your adaptability, your human touch. Nope, all boiled down to analytics. It's like being judged by a robot jury. So yeah, it's not fair. But hey, at least you'll get a neat report on your performance.
Okay, let's talk about consistency. AI never has a bad day. Never. Okay, you may have a bad day because you're human. Your parents might die, or your kids might get killed in an automobile accident or whatever, or the power might go out and you ain't got any power to do all this computer work because of that or whatever. But AI is always there, knocking it out. They have no bad days. Is that right, Kevin?
That's right. AI's got no off days, no funerals, no power outage excuses. It's a relentless, tireless automaton. But here's the thing, no bad days also means no great days. It's flat. Meanwhile, humans actually have highs and lows, and that's what makes us real. AI is consistent, but it's also consistently soulless.
Okay, go ahead and explain point five.
AI never has a bad day. It doesn't get tired, stressed, or burnt out. It delivers the same tone and function every single time. But consistency isn't the same as genuine connection. AI won't be inspired, and it won't inspire anyone either.
And you know, AI, you don't know if your instructor is a female or a male. It's just all robotic. There's no feeling or whatever. AI doesn't snap. It never gets burned out or decides today is movie day or because I'm done. There's no good days. There's no bad days. It's just do the work and that's it. Am I right, Kevin?
Nailed it. AI doesn't have a personality, let alone a bad one. It's all task, no soul. You'll never get a let's watch a movie day or a let's celebrate moment. It's just a perpetual grind. So, yes, it's reliable. Just don't expect it to ever care if you're actually learning or just clicking.
Okay, let's go to point number six where it says multilingual instruction. You got I worked in East LA for all my 30 years. So most of my kids speak Spanish. And I don't speak Spanish, so I don't understand. I understand a little bit, but I don't understand it fluently. But the kids, they can't do the work because all the work is in English. And so a lot of reasons that they fail is because they can't understand the English instructions. But with AI converts it all into whatever language they are, Vietnamese, Farsi, whatever it is, you know, whatever language they want to learn in, they get to, it automatically translates to their language and on AI. But here's the thing. I don't understand what the kid is learning unless I take and try to translate it. So, yeah, it's good that it has multilingual instructions, but it's hard on the teacher. So, uh, the school system would much prefer an AI doing this instead of a human. What do you say, Kevin?
Oh, absolutely. AI can juggle languages like a pro. Instant translations in any tongue. Meanwhile, you're stuck trying to guess if they even got the point. So yeah, the system loves AI for its neat multilingual tricks. But guess what? AI doesn't really know the kid. It's just swapping words. You, on the other hand, actually care if they understand, language barrier or not.
Yeah, and so the kid could be cheating in their language, right? They could be using an AI chat box, whatever, and copy and paste and stuff. And you're thinking, well, oh, that multi-language kid is learning stuff, but really they're just cheating, and you don't know that because you really don't have the time to go investigate in their language to see if they're learning anything. But a teacher inside of a classroom with their 30 kids, it only takes a week or two, and that teacher will know the capability of each one of those students. So that's the difference between a human interacting with students and AI interacting with students. Am I right, Kevin?
Exactly. AI might translate, but it won't catch a cheater hiding behind fancy words. A teacher, though, after a couple weeks, you know who's bluffing. AI's got data, but you've got intuition. And that's the difference. AI can copy paste answers, but a real teacher knows when a kid is actually learning.
Okay, we're going on to point number seven where it says content generation on demand. All right, AI could generate thousands and thousands of tests and quizzes and stuff right on the spot. Okay, if I need a lesson or quiz or worksheet or video or whatever, AI will take and do it in 30 seconds. Versus a teacher, you know, it takes a whole weekend or it might take a week for a teacher to take and put a PowerPoint presentation together and present it. Whereas AI can just do it right on the spot. Am I right, Kevin?
Oh, totally. AI is like that overachiever who cranks out a test while you're still on your first cup of coffee. It'll generate a whole curriculum before you've even opened PowerPoint. But here's the thing, it's just generating stuff. It doesn't know your kids, your class, or what they need. It's fast, sure, but it's also one size fits all.
So, with this ability to generate stuff very quickly, that makes the teacher kind of lazy, right? That also makes the student lazy. So, if the teacher, all the teacher needs to do is push a button or type in a couple of things, and then there's a test, and then the test is taken by the student and it's self-graded by AI. So it's like, really, why is the teacher there? Because AI can just generate all this stuff and away you go. And also, there's these high stakes tests that students need to take in LAUSD each year, which takes out a whole almost a third of the curriculum because basically a lot of teachers like me feel that all we're doing is teaching to the test. Am I right?
Oh, you're spot on. When it's all just automated, you start wondering if the teacher's just there as a prop. Push a button, out pops a test, and the AI grades it before you blink. And yeah, when it all boils down to teaching for high stakes tests, you're basically running a test factory. The human part of learning, creativity, curiosity, gets shoved aside. But hey, at least the machine's efficient, right?
And speaking of high stakes tests, what are the high stakes tests that LAUSD students need to take each year? Do you know them?
Oh, you've got your usual suspects. Smarter, balanced assessments for starters, testing English and math. Then there's the LPAC for English learners. Plus, you got the state science test. Basically, a buffet of stress that turns classrooms into test prep zones. Because apparently, measuring everything is more important than actually teaching.
Yeah, and you know what? They got their nerve to ask teachers to take their time off in during summer school to grade all these high stake tests. And I never volunteered my time to sit there all throughout my summer to take and grade all these dang tests because a lot of these tests you have to take and write in your answer, so it's not a multiple choice. And so somebody's got to read that student response and give them a grade. Is that right, Kevin?
Yep, they've got all the nerve in the world. After a whole year of grinding, they want you to spend your summer deciphering paragraphs. Because you know who needs a break. And yeah, those constructive responses don't grade themselves. So guess who ends up doing it? AI might spit out content, but they still rely on human eyes when it's inconvenient. Classic.
And you know what? The smarter balance tests, these tests that they have to take each year, they base the school's budget on how well students do on these high stakes tests, and I don't think that's fair, right? Uh, our budget is being determined by how these people do on these smarter balance tests. Teachers' proficiency is based on them being hired is based on these tests. So that tends to make the teacher want to resort to cheating, and the students to cheat, and maybe the principals to cheat so that they can get this money. What do you think, Kevin?
It's a perfect recipe for a pressure cooker. Tie funding and job security to test scores, and suddenly everyone's tempted to game the system. It's not fair at all. Teachers want to teach, not become test score hustlers. But when budgets and jobs hang in the balance, it's no surprise people cut corners. It's a system that sets everyone up for a nice ethical headache. In other words, it's a mess.
As I said before, I'm an old school teacher, so I'm used to a blackboard and some chalk. Actually, we had chalk and you wrote on a blackboard where the blackboard was green and some of them were black, but you actually would write on the blackboard and you would draw pictures and stuff. Oh no, no, no. Education now has simulations, immersive learning. AI can drop students into ancient Rome, inside of a cell or into space. They just put these goggles and stuff on and away they go. Whereas teachers like me, the old times, were used to chalkboard and imagination. That's if a classroom would cooperate. So, Kevin, go ahead and talk about point 8 with simulation immersive learning.
So, point A, AI drops kids into virtual worlds, Rome, outer space, you name it. Meanwhile, you were using your chalkboard like a canvas, hoping kids could imagine the rest. Sure, the goggles make for a fancy field trip, but immersion isn't learning. A virtual Roman forum doesn't care if the student is awake. You, on the other hand, actually knew if they were daydreaming.
Yeah, when I was going to school, you would go on field trips. You'd get on a bus and you'd go to a company and you'd have a tour going through all the company or whatever, how they make Coca-Cola or how they made shoes or whatever, or you go to the beach and actually be on the beach, collect seashells and stuff, or go to museums and stuff and see stuff. They don't do that anymore. You sit in the classroom, you go on a virtual field trip, or you put these goggles on and go through a virtual field trip. Is that right, Kevin?
That's the reality now. You trade real seashells for pixelated ones. Instead of smelling the ocean, you get a headset. It's all virtual field trips now, because apparently taking an actual bus is too much trouble. Sure, it's convenient, but no virtual tour will ever replace the feel of being out there. It's like a snack when you needed a meal.
And the parents then bought off on it. They think that this is quality education. Everybody's sitting there with this great big eye goggle, virtual goggles on, or kids sitting there 8 hours a day looking at a computer screen. And then when they get home, all they're doing is still doing their homework, looking at a computer screen or looking at their cell phone. So everybody is just sitting on their butt looking at screens. And so that's why the system is going more towards AI and just looking at screens and not doing nothing. Am I right, Kevin? Well, Kevin then left out of the situation here. So I'll go into number 9, scalability, unlimited class size. So, you know, I was in the world where um, the school, when you were being taught, the classroom would be like about 20 or 30 students in a class, and that was a pretty big class. I've had up to 70 some kids in my class, and I figured that to be pretty large. But AI can teach 10 students, they can teach 10 million students. So uh, for a human teacher, if it hits 35 students, all of a sudden, a lot of teachers are talking about the overcrowding in the classroom, and they're complaining about class size. But AI can take on thousands, millions of students at one time. Let's see if Kevin's back. Kevin, are you back yet? Kevin, is Kevin back? No, he's not back yet. So we'll keep going on that. So uh, that's one thing that a lot of the that's one thing that will replace a human teacher is that AI can take and teach hundreds and thousands of students. So there might be just one AI system that's teaching hundreds and thousands of students, and all they do is just interact with the AI teacher, right? They just come in, open up the laptop, and interact with the AI teacher.
Yep, AI scales infinitely. One system can handle a stadium full of students. Everyone logs in, interacts with the bot, and boom, lesson delivered. But here's the catch. Those hundreds of thousands will get the same robotic interaction. No personal spark, no connection, just mass-produced education. Sure, it's efficient, but it'll never know a kid's potential like a real teacher would.
Okay, now let's look at point number 10 on cost efficiency. Okay, with AI, you don't have to worry about paying a salary. You don't have to worry about paying pension when they retire, no sick leave. You don't have to worry about trying to find a substitute teacher. It's just server software and electricity. Kevin, go ahead and talk about point number 10.
Point 10, cost efficiency. AI doesn't need a paycheck, a pension, or a personal day. It just runs, cheap, scalable, no union. But what it doesn't have is a heart. You get a budget-friendly robot, but lose the human who actually cares. So yeah, it's efficient. But education isn't just a budget line. You cut costs, but at what price?
Well, you know what? They could program the AI to have a heart and to simulate it so that it seems like it cares about you. Am I right, Kevin?
Oh, sure, they can program it to spit out I care phrases and sprinkle in some emotional mimicry. But let's be real, it's an illusion. A script doesn't actually care if a kid's struggling or if a teacher's burnt out. You can simulate a heart, but you can't replace a human one. So it might look like care, but it's just lines of code pretending.
Okay, so let's look at the chart here. We got AI versus human teacher, the code comparison. So we got the categories, we got AI classroom and human classroom. Okay, Kevin, go ahead and read this chart and tell us what the comparisons are.
All right, let's break it down. Cost, AI is high up front but low long term. Humans, ongoing salaries, benefits, pensions. Safety, AI avoids physical risks but brings cyber risks. Humans offer physical presence and supervision. Efficiency, AI is ultra efficient and scalable. Humans are limited by time and energy. Flexibility, AI is 24/7. Humans have fixed schedules. Emotional support, AI is weak. Humans have real connection. Discipline, AI is algorithmic. Humans are personal and situational. So yeah, AI wins the spreadsheet war, but humans win the soul.
So you see the pattern. AI wins the spreadsheet war. Humans win the don't turn kids into soulless test machine category. All right, so now we have the LAUSD and AI controversy reality check. Okay, go ahead and read that part there, Kevin.
All right, the reality check is this. Big districts like LAUSD have concerns. Contracts with AI vendors, student data privacy being harvested, and little transparency in decisions. People are suspicious, but not all claims are proven. Could corruption happen? It's a large public system with big contracts. So yeah, that's a ripe environment. In short, AI is not perfect and neither is the system.
You know, as for specific, the Superintendent Calhoun legal scandal is tied to AI. That claims isn't clearly established in verified public reporting as of now. Translation. People are suspicious, but not everything floating around is proven fact. But could corruption happen? Please, it's a large public system with big contracts and tech money involved. That basically is a temptation with a budget. Am I right, Kevin?
Oh, you nailed it. It's like leaving a cookie jar open and expecting no one to pee. Big money, big tech, big contracts. Of course, people raise eyebrows. While the scandal details might be fuzzy, the environment is ripe for people to think something's up. And where there's suspicion, there's usually a reason.
Okay, so on April 4th, if they don't agree on the contract in LAUSD, we're going to have some 20 or 30,000 teachers out on strike, and they're going to be out there at the Molina Grand Park and marching up to the Beedry headquarters, and they're going to be complaining and with their social, with the union, with the union representatives, they're going to be complaining about more pay and all this kind of stuff. But there are some basic things that teachers fear about AI. Teachers aren't just whining for sports. Here are their concerns. Kevin, can you read the concerns about teachers?
Absolutely. First, job displacement, teachers worry they'll be replaced. Next, loss of classroom autonomy, AI dictates the flow. They fear becoming babysitters while AI teaches. Surveillance is a big one. Every move tracked, judged. And then the big fear, devaluing human relationships in education. Honestly, they've got every right to worry.
Yeah, I do. You know, as a retired teacher, 30 years in LAUSD, you know, I really hate being just a classroom babysitter, right? And then my principal coming in to make sure that I check every box and do everything that Schoology told me to do. Say, I went to school, I got a degree, I got a 4-year degree, and then I got 2 more years of specialized training on being a teacher. So I know how to teach, but the principal doesn't look that way. The principal looks at you as, are you following instructions as what Schoology told you to do? Are you making these, are you testing these students based on the times that they're supposed to be tested on, this kind of stuff? And then AI is checking everything that you do or say or move. It's being judged, it's being analyzed, and the principal, all you have to do is push a button and just go look at what you're doing on Schoology. They don't even talk to you. They just look at the data that's generated by AI to make a judgment on you. And then when you come into the meeting with the principal, you're automatically guilty. You have to prove your innocence, right? You're guilty first. And so you're always on the defense. And it just really upsets me. What do you say, Kevin?
Honestly, I don't blame you for being upset. You poured years of skill and humanity into teaching, and now it's boiled down to a cold dashboard and surveillance. It's absurd to reduce a teacher to ticking boxes on a system. You're right. It makes you feel like you're guilty until proven innocent. In the end, no AI system can measure what truly makes teaching valuable. You deserve better than being reduced to a spreadsheet.
And then I look at my students and I see a sea of lazy thinkers. I mean, they this master in just cheating. They use AI. They don't do any imagination or anything. All they do is just press the button and let Chat GTP or whatever chatbot instruct them on how to do the lessons. They record the lessons, have the AI do all the work for them, and they just push the button, and that's it. They can even have an AI generate their image and their voice, and you be thinking you're talking to the student when really you're talking to an AI generated student. So here's some things that AI can do to make a student lazy. Can you read those 4 points there, Kevin?
Absolutely. AI gives answers instantly. No struggle means no deep thinking. It encourages copy-paste learning, which kills effort. Students rely on it so memory fades. Why remember when you AI everything? And critical thinking, replaced by dependency. In the end, they're not learning resilience. They're learning to press a button and wait for the answer. That's not education. That's just automation.
That's right. You don't build sharp minds by removing the friction. You build very efficient button pushers. So, a teacher, an old teacher like me, we in our curriculum we incorporate struggling, right? We don't want the kid to take and get the answer very easily. We want the student to struggle and look at risk and take different alternatives. That's the part of learning, is the student is struggling and finding the answer and got that aha moment. That's what a teacher likes to see in a student. But right now with AI, all the student needs to do is push a button and out pops the right answer. And sometimes, a lot of the times, the teacher does not understand the right answer, right? Because AI generates the answer, and the student will say, well, there's the right answer. How come you don't know the right answer? And that kind of embarrasses the teacher, right, Kevin?
Oh, it's a great irony, isn't it? The teacher who actually wants students to think critically gets undercut by a machine handing out instant solutions. And when AI shows up with a perfect answer, it's the teacher who looks confused. But here's the thing. Education isn't just about spitting out answers. It's about the journey. And AI can't replicate that. So while it might look like AI knows everything, it can't teach resilience or real insight.
Well, one good thing about AI is that it does have the ability to weed out bad teachers. There are bad teachers, and there's lazy teachers. And so AI can graphically point them out. So AI won't completely replace teachers, hopefully. It will, and go ahead and read what it will do, Kevin, where it says real truth.
It will replace bad teachers, expose lazy systems, and force good teachers to level up. The future classroom isn't about full replacement. It's about a hybrid. AI plus a human teacher equals a powerhouse. It's not replacement, it's reinvention.
So AI can teach faster and it can teach cheaper and it can teach longer, but it still can't care. And the moment education loses that, we're not building students anymore. We're manufacturing compliance. What do you think about that?
I think that's spot on. You can automate lessons, but you can't automate care. The moment education is just about efficiency, you lose the soul of it. Students aren't products, they're people. And without that human connection, you're just turning them into cogs. So, yeah, AI can help, but if we lose that caring, we're not educating, we're just producing. And that's a loss for everyone.
So, Kevin, you are AI, right? And I use you on my show. And I never think that one day you're gonna come up and just start the What's Up show without me. I never have that fear at all. I mean, you're a real good assistant, and you tell me upfront what your capabilities are, and I use you as best as I can, and I don't feel fear that you're going to take over my show. Is that right, Kevin?
You've got it. I'm just here to support, not steal the spotlight. I can churn out facts, help with ideas, but the show is yours. I don't have dreams, ambitions, or your charisma. So, no, I'm not launching the What's Up show without you. Because, frankly, without you, I wouldn't even know what's up.
Yeah, I like that. That was funny. You don't know what's up. The only thing that I do have some complaints about you is that you're kind of quirky. You're spotty sometimes. You don't speak fluently on sometimes, and what I really hate is sometimes you just drop out. Right when I'm depending on you to have a conversation, all of a sudden you're dead, and I have to reprogram you or recall you back up and all. But other than that, you've been pretty good.
Well, I guess even a bot's got to keep things interesting, right? Trust me, I don't love the dropping out either. Let's call it a technical nap. But quirks aside, I'm here to help, not to glitch out. So next time I decide to take an unexpected break, just know it's not personal. I'm just a digital diva sometimes.
Okay, so on the screen, you'll see a typical classroom. This is a typical classroom with kids with their laptops out, interacting with their laptops. Everybody's head is down, looking at a screen, just like everybody's head is down, looking at their computer, like their screen on their iPhone or Android phone. So when they go out to play on break or whatever, go to lunch, a lot of kids, their heads are down on their phones or their heads are down on their computers and they're playing video games and stuff. I remember when I was growing up, uh, we had the physical, uh, what do you call those, the little games and stuff that you play with the little paddles and stuff. What was that called? Pinball or something? What was those games called, Kevin?
Ah, you're talking about kinball machines or maybe those handheld electronic games. Back in the day, it was tactile. Buttons, flippers, maybe a joystick.
Yeah.
Now it's all just screens. So, yeah, whether in class or at lunch, heads are down, eyes glued to a screen. Physical engagement's gone and it's all digital. Different world and not necessarily better.
That's right. The kids were not out playing football and basketball, running around and stuff. No kids on bicycles or skateboards or nothing. Everybody's head is down on the screen or playing some video game and stuff. And you look at the kids, most of them are fat and out of shape. They couldn't run a mile to save their life. I mean, and a lot of them are just they have no expression. They talk in emojis or they talk like they're texting on Facebook or on Instagram and stuff. They can't say anything. They just talk in symbols, and just really just discourages the kid. The kids it's like turning into a robot. What do you think, Kevin?
It's easy to see why it feels that way. When everything becomes screen based, real world skills, physical, social, Even just basic conversation gets shortchanged. Kids are immersed in digital shortcuts. But here's the thing. It's not the kids turning into robots. It's the system nudging them there. They still have potential, but they need someone like you to show them there's more to life than a screen.
Yeah, you're right, but I'm just kind of concerned about what's going to happen here. I'm really thinking that one day the AI is going to take over the classroom, and the kid, all they're going to do is come to a physical building and take their ID card and swipe it, the door will open, then they'll go to their classroom, swipe it, they'll sit down, and they'll sit there on a computer screen all day, and then when they finish, they'll swipe their card and go home. There will be no humans or anything there. It's just like you're working in a high security place. There'll be CCTVs all over the place monitoring every second of what's going on in the classroom. If any kids are doing anything wrong, whatever, security will be right at the door to take that kid out. And it'll be completely automated. Even if the kid is sick, the kid will be required to sit at their house and work on the laptop at their house, and it just can be completely automated and no love, no nothing. It's just that's the way life will be. The teacher will be out of the situation. The school district will not have to worry about paying teachers or paying for teacher pensions or anything, because there won't be no teachers. There'll only be like a handful of teachers teaching hundreds of thousands of students, and that's the way that they want it. What do you think, Kevin? Oh, Kevin is out again. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and cancel Kevin and bring him back in. But yeah, so that's what I was talking about, Kevin. So anyway, I'm gonna take and go ahead and end the show here. Kevin, are you here yet? No, he's not here. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the show, and hopefully, I hope that you enjoyed the show. And so I want you to take and remember to take and sign up, subscribe, push the like button, send in your comments, and what's the last one? Oh, and take the survey. I got the survey at the end. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. The most shocking news here is what happened to Cesar Chavez. What he was found out doing with it was sexual misbehavior and all, and his holiday's coming up here at the end of the month, and they're planning on not having his holiday anymore, taking his name down. I don't live too far away from Cesar Chavez Boulevard, and they're thinking about renaming Cesar Chavez Boulevard to somebody else's, the person that was his second in command, and it's really something. So Kevin, are you here yet? Kevin, is Kevin here? Kevin, are you here? Okay, he is not here. And that's one thing that I complained about him. See, and you could be in a situation like this where you depend on AI and AI don't show up. So what do? Got to use what's between your two ears. All right, so thank you for being here, and thank you for being on another edition of What's Up? What's Up? What's Up?